Alright guys, this is my second day in a row fishing, and this is one of my little hot spots, a little honey hole I guess you could say. This is called Manlove Lake. And let me tell you, this is my favorite honey hole right here. I've caught some big bass. A lot of this algae and a lot of this vegetation is pretty thick during the summertime and the fall, so it's hard to really fish on this unless you're using worm or some kind of topwater. And my favorite worm is, of course, all time, is green no flake 5-inch Yakamata. So we're gonna go with my old Lucky 6 cents crush black crankbait. The water's shallow, so I've got to really bring my rod tip up when I'm using this crankbait here, or I'm going to get hooked on all kinds of vegetation. The wind's kind of blowing that way, so I'm going to be casting that way. A little bit of green on there. Trying to slow roll it on in here. I'm just trying to trigger a bite here. I'm going to take all this gunk off there, of course. I've caught some big bass right in this area. Trying to yank it through that vegetation. Wind's a little stronger than I expected it today. Yeah, this vegetation is still pretty good here. You can see crankbait's kind of hard through here, but you just never know. So you kind of might go the other side over there in a second where there's hardly any, and I can use my crankbait a lot more. Let's try this area over here. As soon as I feel a little bit of that vegetation, I kind of yank through it a little bit. You know, sometimes you just have to keep on throwing it through the vegetation, each time pulling the stuff off of it, because that's where the bass are. And for me, it's definitely worth taking it off each time if I can catch some nice ones. So kind of trying to keep it on the top a little bit there. good movement. And that rattle should start attracting some fish too. Yeah. Can't really shake off this stuff. It sticks to your hook's pretty good there. But if you look at this, it's a campground. And this is it took me, I work in Richmond and I work in Dayton, Ohio, and it took me almost 2 years to find this little sweet spot, this little honey hole here. Talking to locals and convincing them to give me up their honey hole spot. And let me tell you, ever since I've been fishing here, catching monster bass here. But yeah, this is a topwater rubber worm kind of a place. You just kind of bring it over that green stuff and you end up getting some good bites. Yeah, but every time I have to pull stuff off of it. The wind's blowing this way, so keep casting that way, I guess. Wind's kind of strong right now. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to a worm, because this area right here is best for worms. Go. No flake. Watermelon, no flake. I love those worm keepers right there. Helps it from your worm falling off the hook, sliding up and down the hook. So you want to make sure that's perfectly straight. Okay, so let's try over here. let it sit and I kind of play with it a little bit. Everybody's got their own different worm techniques. I'll try different ones. Sometimes I'll just kind of do a nice slow drag on the bottom. Kind of pop it here and there. Just checking my drag just to make sure. Sometimes when I reel it through the green stuff like that and just kind of have a nice little pace, they'll blow up on top of it. Take it. So beautiful out here. See a lot of green. Over by that island over there, there was a guy 2 years ago that caught a 13-pound largemouth over there. This is strictly catch and release. You cannot keep the bass, you cannot eat the bass, you cannot take the bass home. You put everything back. And that's why the